How's it going, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be talking about being happy while single. So before I really get into this topic, I want to make sure that we're distinguishing between the idea of being single and being lonely, right? You can be lonely because you're single, but this video is not going to necessarily be about loneliness, right? Loneliness is a sign that you need more social stimulation, and sometimes we look for that in relationships. But instead of focusing on sort of that feeling, we're going to focus on what you can do to be happy while you're single if you're sort of looking for a relationship or a partner, but you haven't quite found that person yet. So I just wanted to get ahead of that and sort of clear up that if you're feeling lonely, having a partner is not necessarily the only way to solve that problem. But let's hone in on sort of what you can do to be happy while you're single or because you're kind of looking for a relationship. So the first thing to do, and this is probably the most common thing you hear, is to make your life whole, right? The more grounded that you are in yourself, the easier it is going to be to communicate and interact with other people, to find someone to sort of fit into your life, right? So a couple places that you can start looking are your health, career, education, your esteem and confidence, skills and hobbies, and your social circle, right? You can sort of map out these different realms of life that are not specifically a romantic relationship and look for the ways that you can improve in those areas and make those places whole. Because if those areas are really lacking, right? Like let's say your health isn't good and your career prospects aren't good and you're not learning and growing or anything, you're not going to have a whole lot of traits that you're able to show that are going to be appealing to a partner, right? And sometimes this can be really hard to hear, but you need to sort of have something going in your own life to be able to attract other people into it. So going along with that, the second thing that you can sort of focus in on and hone in on is getting really clear on your values and your goals, right? When you know what it is that's important to you and you know what it is that you're working towards, it's much easier to figure out the way that someone fits into your life as opposed to sort of hoping that someone is going to come in and give you all of those things, right? It also puts a lot of strain on the relationship. So when you're really clear on what you want and what you like and enjoy and prefer, it's going to help you not only attract people, but it's going to help you separate out the type of people you'd like to have a relationship with, right? If you don't have goals or values that are clear to you, you may meet any number of people and then only down the line when you start having conflict sort of figure out that there's a mismatch in sort of goals or lifestyle or whatever it is, and then you're going to be frustrated with that. So the more clear you can get on your goals and values, the easier it will be to find a partner that is a good fit for you. The third thing you can do to be happy while being single is really engage with others in a non-romantic way. And by that I mean be open to meeting a lot of people without this pressure of, oh, is this going to be a relationship or not, right? If you instead sort of look at these relationships or these interactions as sort of, oh, I'm getting to know the person and we will see what sort of chemistry or sets of interactions there are, it opens up the space a little bit more for things like, oh, maybe it could be a good friendship. Maybe there is a business, type of relationship or whatever else. When you come in with this mindset of sort of, I'm just going to see what sort of relationship develops and whether or not we connect at all on any level, you free up some of the pressure that often comes with these dating interactions that are like, okay, I need to see if this person checks off all my boxes, yes or no. And this pressure can sort of make the interaction strange, right? It can make it so that things don't happen in a natural way. And it can really constrain what it is that you get out of the relationship. So when you come in with a mindset of just like, I'm going to meet sort of this person and just get to know them as a person and see what happens, it's much, much easier to have those interactions. Now, this goes along with number 4, which is just to meet a lot of people, right? If you're single and you want to find someone to have a relationship with, the best way to do that is to meet a lot of people, right? Just by meeting a lot of people, the chances that you run into someone that you have a good connection and chemistry with are higher, right? If you only have 2 people to choose from, your odds are not very good. But if you meet, 15 or 20 people, then your odds are better. Now, For a lot of people, dating at that frequency, like if you meet 20 people in 2 weeks, can be really overwhelming. And that's why I brought up the previous point, which is, be open to sort of meeting people without this extra filter of, oh, I need to make sure if this is going to develop into a relationship or not. Because you're going to get the added benefit of sort of growing out your social circle while seeing those opportunities as they arise, right? Like, obviously you can use the traditional, dating strategies, but just be open to sort of meeting a lot of people in a lot of different ways, because that's really going to help broaden your chances of finding someone who's a good fit for you. All right, number 5 is to get really clear on where and how a relationship could fit into your life, right? This goes back to sort of the first piece, where there are a number of people who, even if it's not explicitly in their mind, have in the back of their head that, oh, my life isn't very good right now, someone's going to come along and fix all those things for me. And if that's the position you're in, it's not very likely. And not only is it not very likely, it's going to come with a range of behaviors or traits that are generally not that attractive to people. So by getting your own house in order, you are more likely to attract the type of partner you're looking for. And in the same vein, understanding sort of the type of relationship that you want, or the dynamic that you want, will help you as you meet people to sort of see what people may or may not fit into your life, right? So for example, if you are looking for a relationship where your partner spends a lot of time with you, right? Like every single day, every night, whatever else. If you find someone who is in a career and cares a lot about their career, and it involves a ton of traveling, and that is what they want to do, they're not willing to compromise on that in any way, then you're going to be able to see pretty quickly, once you recognize the type of relationship you want, whether or not that's going to be a viable option. So getting clear on what you want to get out of the relationship and the sort of relationship you want to have is also really going to help you as you meet people. Now, again, if you're looking for someone to sort of fix you or save you or turn something that's really bad in your life into something really good, the chances of that are just not great, right? You're going to be much better served sort of trying to find ways to work on those things on your own, and then invite someone into your life when you're in a place that is good and feels stable, or at least, you have things that you've been working on and paying attention to, and goals and values and whatnot. Number 6, being open to the future is really important as you look at relationships. And by that, I mean, not getting caught up on the past, right? A lot of people have interactions in the past, right? I've personally dealt with this, that sort of color their future relationships in ways that aren't necessarily fair. So one good example is, for me, for example, I have been in past relationships where I was cheated on, and that made it really hard for me to not be jealous, to not be sort of controlling, or just being up in my partner's business all the time. Now, while that may be the case, you have to do the work to move past those things, right? Because otherwise you're going to sort of morph your new relationships in unhealthy ways based on the past ones, right? I had those sorts of feelings of jealousy or worry or concern, and I had to sort of work through them as the relationship developed. So in the same way, be open to the future, right? Don't let the past sort of anchor you into what possibilities there are. Every person is an individual, every situation is unique, and so focus more on what attributes or types of relationships and interactions are going to produce a healthy relationship, as opposed to what it is that you faced in the past. Now, this can be really, really difficult, and you may need to do some work sort of managing these emotions and figuring out how to have a healthy relationship depending on the types of things that you've been through. But ultimately, that's going to serve you much better in your future as you search for a partner. So I hope that helps give you a couple ideas on how you can be happy while you're single and still in this sort of looking phase. Again, I just want to reiterate that the stronger your foundation in your life is, the happier you are in general, independent of a relationship, the easier it will be to sort of have the sorts of interactions that will allow you to produce a strong and stable relationship. Let's move on to some reflection questions. 1, how can you make your life more whole? 2, how can you reduce your expectations and increase your open-mindedness when meeting new people? So that's all I've got for this video. Hope it helps as, if you're in the single realm and trying to find new outlets. As always, if you have any questions, comments, topics you want me to cover, throw them down in the box below. I'll get to them as soon as I can, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please take a second to subscribe, as it really helps out a lot. If you're looking for more content, there's all sorts of information over at howtohappy.com. And if you want something a little bit more condensed and concise, I've also written the book Mindscaping, which is essentially a framework for optimizing happiness. So we'll have the link there as well. And that's all I've got. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.